And here we go. We got Mr. Jon Viruet out of Grit and Gratitude Wrestling. His teammate Daniel Keeper had a big win earlier. Jon Viruet, we talking about his collegiate wrestling pedigree. He's got an amazing wrestling pedigree, but this man is not afraid to throw to hands.
Well, tell me, let's talk about this matchup here. This is our main event, 170-pound title, and what do we need to know about these two guys about to enter the cage?
Both of these guys have excellent wrestling backgrounds, okay? They really have excellent wrestling pedigrees. They're both very strong, very in shape, similar body types, and both of them are willing to engage in the violent dance that is the striking of mixed martial arts. You know, it's not often you see that with wrestlers. So what I'm expecting here is their wrestling to kind of negate each other. And I think it's going to come down to clinch work and the striking out of transitions.
Who's the better striker?
You know, I think they're pretty much evenly matched. I mean, really, they're both impressive young men.
Yeah. Well, this feels like a pick 'em on paper. We'll see what happens.
Well, and we know he wrestles. You don't get an ear like that from not wrestling.
Boy, that is a good one right there.
That's a really good one. That's lots of wrestling matches.
Is that still cauliflowered, or is there a different level? That would almost look like a baked potato in his
That
ear.
might be a baked potato here. But again, this young man, I mean, his wrestling is dominant. But he's fighting a guy in Mende Cukalevski who comes out of a very strong wrestling camp. You know, and who knows? One of them may surprise us wrestling and overpower the other one. But they're both so skilled in that area that, again, I think it's going to come down to the clinch and the striking out of the clinch. We're waiting for Mr. Mende Cukalevski out of Ultimate Athletics. I always joke, and thankfully he's a really nice guy, but I always joke and say he's like a bad guy extra on a Liam Neeson movie.
Kukalevski is.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll see him. You look like he should be on a Taken movie.
Yeah. I do.
In like Eastern Europe.
Oh, well, 100%. 100% he does.
Thankfully, he's got a great sense of humor.
He's from Eastern Europe, or?
He's got some heritage somewhere out there, but
100% he looks like it.
You know, but either way, he looks like he could be in a Liam Neeson movie.
Yes. I mean, both of these guys look like they're in tremendous shape and really good athletes too.
Yes. And they're both really happy to be here, very calm, very composed. You know, when I spoke to Mende at the last fight, Cage Wars 51, he was really excited about this. You know, he even said to me, he said, everybody thinks about my wrestling, he said, but I'm not afraid to strike, and I look forward to showing my striking. You know, both these young men are finally out of the shin guards, which is exciting because they were both limited in what they could do prior to this. You know, and this is one of the few cases that a 2-0 and 2-0 should be a title fight.
Well, this has got everything, and the fans seem to be excited. And I like, though, you were talking about how, you know, these guys come from more wrestling backgrounds, but they're willing to engage. I think that's smart. I think you need to kind of, you know, weigh out the risks versus the rewards. There's something to giving the fans what they want as well, and adding the striking to the repertoire is something that people want to see. The wrestling is tremendous skill, but when it comes down to it, a lot of people, you know, a lot of us come here to see knockouts.
Well,
and see the
you
power.
know, unfortunately, and it's gotten better over the recent years, but probably 5 years ago or so, I would say that the style for wrestlers was kind of lay and pray. I'm going to get a dominant position. I'm going to just stall the clock out and win the rounds that way.
Yeah.
And now the evolution of the sport and the referees and how it's changed, you're seeing these athletes forced to do everything.
And we've seen some reversals, and we've seen that. So it's not just get on top and lay. We're seeing the skill within the grapple, which is something that you're very well versed on. I'm just a novice. I'm just a guy who watches this stuff.
I'm a student of the game as well, always learning, Brian. There's guys out there that know well more than I do.
But he 100% looks like a
Liam Neeson. I'm telling you, Liam Neeson. If you are watching, we have an extra for your next movie.
But like he would be playing, like in a Liam Neeson movie, he would be playing a
He's
fighter
the bad guy.
because there'd be like some backyard brawling going on too. I feel like.
We're going to bring it up to Mike Falvo.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event of the evening, and it is for the Cage Wars Welterweight Championship. This championship fight is brought to you by Cage Wars MMA and Sticker Mule, and is presented by Jules Design Studio, Ryan Clark Realty, Bricklayers Local Number 2, Local Allied Craft Workers, UA Local Number 7 Plumbers and Steam Fitters. Also, we want to say thank you to our friends from Two Strange CBD and Against the Cage with Ben and Jay. This championship fight is sanctioned by the United States Muay Thai Association Executive Director Ed Kinner, in attendance this evening. The judges for this championship fight are Mr. Chris Polinsky, Rob Exisa, and John Bernard. And the fight doctor at cage side is Dr. Michael Sheridan. And now, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are live around the world on Stimulus.com for the Cage Wars Welterweight Championship. Let's do this! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, he is the challenger, weighing in at 169.2 pounds. Representing Grit and Gratitude Mixed Martial Arts out of Springfield, Massachusetts, Jon Viruet.
Viruet bringing the crowd.
And his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. He weighed in yesterday at 170.4 pounds. Representing Ultimate Athletics out of Syracuse, New York, he's known as the Macedonian Monster, Mende Cukalevski.
He is built. What's the game plan for either guy here?
I think for Mende it's going to be to land some heavy shots, and I think for Jon it's going to be control. I think Jon's going to want to control positions, negate the power of Mende, and find a way to win.
Mende appears like he would be a ground and pound beast.
He's a heavy-handed man. He's got some lunchbox on those wrists.
No kid. I'm excited. What do you think? Over 1.5 rounds?
I'm going to give it over.
Over?
Both these guys are skilled. Unless somebody gets hit with something fluke.
I'm going to say under.
All right, I like it, Brian. I like it.
Like to be contrarian.
Now, again, Mende opens up that hard leg kick, but Jon's trying to close the distance like that, looking for that takedown. Good job with that underhook, reversing. Now, if you notice, though, Jon doesn't just let him reverse. He goes right back to it. Whoa, almost knocking over everything at the table.
We got some light shaking over here.
All right, we got the camera moving. Oh, he's got that neck. Oh! Slammed upside down.
And he's in tight.
Now, but again, he's in a bad position, and Jon can weather this because he's got an arm in. Jon's not in much danger here. You see how Mende's elbows coming up over the back of the head? Nice job by Jon Viruet. Now he's in half guard against the cage. This is not where Mende wants to be. It's bad enough having Jon Viruet on top of you, but then being sandwiched against the cage is not the ideal situation.
That is a great job by Jon Viruet there because that was not looking good momentarily.
And as we talked about, he's just going to want to negate that power and pressure and control, which is what he's doing right now.
And he's
looking to step over from Mount. Mende's doing a nice job keeping him in half guard.
And he's doing it right in front of us. I mean, guys, that we are literally 6 inches from the action.
And if you notice, Mende's just trying to hold on and not allow Jon to separate distance. He's respecting Jon's ability to ground and pound. And I think at this point, looking for a ref to stand him up or look for an opportunity to use his feet off the cage and roll. And you see him digging that left foot into the cage. He's got the arms locked behind the back.
Which technically you cannot do, correct?
You can't lock your feet in the cage, but you can wall walk off the cage. But again, Jon doing the smart thing. He's just being very calm and composed, and Mende will burn his arms out like this. There's no doubt about that. Now Jon looking to trap that right arm of Mende.
And it looks like he is able to create a little bit of space here, which could be dangerous for Mende.
Could be very dangerous. And again, this is where amateurs are a little bit different, because if this was pros and you could rain elbows from there, it would be a very bad situation.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, and it's good that you're telling people, because there are some people probably watching at home that don't know, but he is starting to ground and pound now.
And again, we talk about swarming and making the referee do something. This is when you can have a fight stopped if your opponent's not defending and you're swarming. But again, Mende's doing a very nice job getting back to the feet. But again, you got Jon Viruet on your back.
And he has been dominating this for the last minute and a half or so. And again,
we're having everything bounce around over here, folks. These two guys are really going after it. Jon Viruet has the back, not letting go. Mende trying to get back to his feet, turn into Jon Viruet, turn to the left. You see he's trying to bring his butt out to the right. But again, Jon Viruet got that body lock, and Jon Viruet with that superior grappling.
And Viruet is sneaky strong, isn't he?
And he's using his positions. He's using his body without using excessive muscle. He's using the leverage.
And that's why you just don't know. You look at body types, and I would have never thought. That's a dominating round one.
Dominating round one for Jon Viruet. And again, we talked about it. He negated Mende's power and his strong strikes, looked for the submission and the control, or the position and the control.
And I would imagine Mende's going to come out and he's going to throw fists because he saw what his opponent has from a grappling standpoint. I don't think he liked what he felt in the first round.
Yeah, if I was Mende's corner right now, I'd say stay away from your kicks unless you're putting them with your hands and really make him respect your punches.
And he's got punching power. We know that.
He does. He's got to keep him at distance, though. But with a guy like Viruet, with the entrances he has and the grappling acumen, the takedown acumen, I mean, that's much easier said than done.
And if you're Viruet, you're going to do the exact same thing in round number 2.
Oh, why change?
Well,
that recipe was perfect.
Unless you get punched in the face, right?
Oh, yeah, unless you get a lunchbox inside the melon. Mende's got a few of those. And if you notice, Mende's standing. I don't know if that's like a mental thing for him to tell himself that he's not tired or tell his opponent, but that was interesting. They brought the stool in.
I don't think he's tired. I think
no, but that's what I mean. It's almost like you want to prove a point.
Right. I think he was outmaneuvered in round 1, but anything can change. He's clearly got power in both hands, and you've seen it.
And again, I would expect Jon, as soon as he can, to change levels and go for a shot. Because that shot was extremely fast last round. See that kick. And you can't throw a naked kick against a guy like Viruet.
And he's anticipating it.
Their response is too good. Their takedowns are too good. See, and he's very mindful. He knows that if he swarms enough, something can happen.
And if Mende doesn't act quickly, he's just going to continue getting mauled.
Jon Viruet, nice job, knee into the thigh.
He's got all the skills, all the tools right now working for him.
And he knows where Cukalevski's bread and butter is, and that's going to be those heavy hands and that strength. And Viruet's doing a great job to negate those. Bringing him right to the other side, bringing him over to his corner.
I mean, he's just manhandling him, Will.
Well, if you notice, he got Mende out of Mende's corner. He did that on purpose. He brought him across the other side of the cage.
Love the intelligent factor. You don't notice those things. I would not have noticed those things. I appreciate you bringing that to the telecast.
Yeah,
here.
Jon Viruet, I mean, his fight IQ is through the roof.
Well, he looks like a world beater tonight.
Mende doing a nice job trying to work for that right arm, but again, that's more of a threat that's not necessarily going to come to fruition, especially against the cage like that.
I mean, and I know if you're Mende right now, hope certainly isn't lost. Half the fight left, but he's got to do something pretty drastic within the next minute or so to kind of, change the vibe of this. What can he do?
Get back to the feet. And Jon Viruet is going to be a tough guy to sweep and get off of the top of you. It's like a nightmare. It's like things that are made in your nightmares.
He is something else, man. He is
calm,
tremendously
collected.
skilled, yeah.
Mende trying to create some distance, some separation.
I mean, at this point, you can almost stand him up, don't you think?
It goes one way or the other. Dan's looking. I mean, there's still enough action. But, yeah, I mean, Mende's not necessarily threatening with the submission, but he does have his arm locked.
I just feel like you err on the side of caution in a title fight. I mean, right now he's pounding, so you keep him there. But if 14 seconds go by, at 15 seconds, get up. Let's go.
Well, but again, if you look, Mende's got his arm locked, Jon Viruet's right arm, and that could turn into a submission, which would make the referee a little bit more hesitant about standing him up. So that's a double-edged sword if you're Mende. The ref's not going to want to stop you because you could potentially pull a submission.
You could have something in the work, sure.
But again, at the same time, the clock is just getting chewed up. We're at the final 30 seconds. And Jon pulls his hand out. And he's making him pay for it.
Mende, he doesn't want any part of this right now. He is tough as they come, though, boy, I'll tell you.
15 seconds. Oh, yeah, you can tell that he's dealt with this in training. I mean, he's comfortable here.
Yep.
It's not what he wants.
Under the watchful eye
But he's
of
not
Mike
ready
Tyson.
to quit.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
Well, he finally got his separation.
There we go. And both these guys in excellent shape.
Well, he doesn't look terribly exhausted. He just looks defeated.
Yeah. He looks like he's at a loss for what to do now. But again, what I would tell him not to do is do not throw those kicks. Each time he threw a naked kick, Viruet capitalized on it.
So you're saying stay at range?
Stay at range and don't use your kicks because Viruet is so fast. You've got to use your punches.
And Viruet is going to come in. He's going to come in and he's going to come after him low. And he hasn't shown really the ability to prevent the takedown. So he's in a tough spot.
You got to be able to throw uppercuts. You've got to have a good sprawl. And again, he's timing that naked leg kick. When I say naked, he's not putting a hand technique with it. He's not throwing some punches with it. So for Viruet, it's standing out like a sore thumb.
Right now,
he sees it.
Right now, it appears that Viruet would be up 2 rounds to 1, or excuse me, 2 rounds to nothing, and at best,
I don't think there's anybody
it's
that gave
1-1.
either round to Mende.
I don't know how you could. So it's knockout or nothing, or a 10-8. But even so, you're looking at a draw. It's knockout or nothing.
Here we go, third and final round, folks, on the main event.
Does he have it in his hands to produce the knockout?
He does if he can keep the distance, but right now Viruet has just been controlling the distance.
And he looks.
I mean, Viruet just looks like he's doing some rounds
fresh.
in the gym.
He looks focused and relaxed.
He's moving his head. But again, you know he's going to throw a punch and then go for that shot again. Nice left check hook.
If Mende's going to make it happen, it's going to be right now.
Yep, and he's got to get his back off of that cage because Jon's trying to corner him into the cage and then just press. Be careful those leg kicks, Mende.
Well, we know one thing. He's going to go for it. Something's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Both these guys are still game. They're still game dogs in the fight. You know, a lot of people, a lot of men and women, if they get behind, you see in their eyes and they kind of almost start to give up. Not Mende.
Well, that was defense. He avoided the takedown and landed, but here we are with
Jon
Viruet.
Viruet's ability to change levels and close distance is just amazing. You know, I mean, there's no wasted movement. It happens in the blink of an eye.
He's a natural.
And he's a really good job of establishing leverage and control.
And he's one of these sneaky strong guys, too. You look at him and you think the builds, you know what I mean? But he has dominated. He has dominated this.
Well, and again,
those are pretty good shots. He landed about 4 there, Mende did. There's 6. He's running 10 or 11 in a row.
Oh,
this is unbelievable. He's good.
And this is the difference maker with the grapplers when you can punch them enough.
So now he's got to step away and he's got to start pummeling
this guy. But the problem is he doesn't have an underhook. You see how he's got an overhook on Viruet? Viruet's got double unders on him.
And so he can't spin off of this?
No. It's a bad position for Mende. It's a terrible position.
I mean, he landed 20 strikes.
But,
he got right back in this fight.
But that was when Jon was bent over. You know, now Jon stood up. He's got the arms clenched behind Mende's back. He's got control.
Talk about heart, though.
Oh, God, yes. Again, I never had the doubt in the world about Mende in his heart.
Well, he's got a minute left. Is there anything he can do? I mean, he looks like he looks exhausted
You've
now.
got to get an underhook. You are not going to get out of this position, especially against Jon Viruet, unless you can dig an underhook. You know, it's just not going to happen. If you notice, Mende's legs are straight. Jon's got his foot in between Mende's legs. You know, he's really negating any exits or options that Mende has.
Well, this is going to close the deal.
Right there. And again, if you notice, what corner is Jon have him in?
He's right there.
In his own corner.
In his own corner.
You know, very, very intelligent young man. Great fight IQ.
He did everything right. He did outside of that flurry by Mende. This is as complete of a performance as we've seen tonight, and with 2 very high-level athletes.
Yeah, I mean, Mende's fighting the hand. Mende's fighting the left hand of Viruet. He's not giving in, but he's not able to get Viruet off of him. He's not able to get to a hip and sweep.
Yeah, and I don't think this is an indictment on Mende. I think this is a celebration of Viruet. I think that's how great he was tonight. And look at this. Now he wants to finish it.
And you know what? You either win or you learn. And you know what? If Mende loses this, I think he's going to learn and he will come back stronger.
Well, if Mende doesn't lose it, then the judges shouldn't allow to be able to come back.
Yeah, I don't think we got to worry about that. Luckily, the USMCA judges are very well trained.
Yeah. Well, hey, before they announce this, I just want to say, man, I've had a pleasure with you here tonight.
Thank you, Brian. I look forward to calling more cards with you, sir.
You are a true professional. You carried me for 4 hours, and I really appreciate you. Seriously, I appreciate it. Now the decision.
I appreciate these athletes and what the show they're putting on for the crowd here and the crowd at home. I mean, it's something special.
Absolutely, and credit to all of the athletes tonight. It takes guts to get in here and do this, and I mean, you know this. You said you like getting punched in the face. I ain't about that.
I have so much respect for the athletes to step in here. They go through the fight camps, the sacrifice, you know, everything that they go through, the challenges they overcome, the adversity. You know, the average person has no idea. These folks do something that 99% of the general public would not do.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, nothing but respect for these folks.
The sacrifice, and it doesn't. It's not just the fighter; it's the family too. It's everybody involved. When you go home and you think, all right, well, let's eat dinner, and no, I can't eat dinner. I have to make weight tomorrow. You know what I mean? It affects everybody. The sacrifice seems unfair.
Well, and in mixed martial arts, you've got to train striking, grappling. You got to do your strength, your conditioning. Every other thing goes into it. It's not just boxing,
Right.
or just kickboxing,
Right.
or just jiu-jitsu. The volume of training is so intense and immense, the average person can't really quantify
That's
it.
a very fair point. And it's gotten better. The competition's gotten better where guys who are well-rounded are truly great in all aspects.
And that wasn't the case for a long time.
Nope. Right. Stand-up fighters were stand-up fighters, and ground guys.
And, dabble a little bit both ways, but
Right.
these young men and women are just so impressive. And you see Daniel Keeper in John Viruet's corner, another guy I'm really looking forward to see soon again.
Well, I think Viruet has an opportunity. And listen, you watch it with a different set of eyes than me. He seems like he's a high-level competitor.
Oh,
Is that safe to say?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. This young man, if he wants to go pro, there's no
These
doubt
two
he's
great
gonna go pro.
warriors, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's make it official here.
And now, after 3 rounds of hard-fought mixed martial arts action, we go to the judges' scorecard. All 3 judges score the fight 30-27. For your winner by unanimous decision, Jon Viruet.
That well-deserved and earned title.
Without a doubt. And no surprises on any, really, of the scorecards tonight. Everything judged really well by the judges.